My fiancé said, "You're too quiet. It's weird. Sometimes I feel like you're hiding a whole life from me." I said, "Maybe." I didn't clarify a thing. But 2 days later, when he overheard a conversation he wasn't meant to hear, he stood frozen in the hallway for nearly a minute. I'm 33, and I've been engaged for about 4 months now. My name is Lisa. We've been together for 3 years total. He moved into my place about a year ago, and for the most part, things have been good. Or at least I thought they were good until he started making comments about how I'm too private and emotionally unavailable. The conversation that started everything happened on a Tuesday night. We were having dinner, nothing special, just takeout on the couch while watching some show. Out of nowhere, he muted the TV and turned to me. "Can I ask you something?" he said. "Sure." "Do you ever feel like we don't really know each other?" I put down my food. "What do you mean? We've been together 3 years." "I know, but you never talk about yourself. Not really. You ask me about my day. You listen. You're supportive. But when I ask about you, you give me these surface-level answers. It's like there's this whole part of you I'm not allowed to see." "I'm just private," I said. "Always have been." "It's more than that. You're too quiet. It's weird. Sometimes I feel like you're hiding a whole life from me." I looked at him for a moment, then said, "Maybe." He blinked. "Maybe? What does that mean?" "It means maybe I am." "Are you serious right now?" I shrugged and turned the TV back on. "You said it. I didn't." He stared at me for a solid 10 seconds, then grabbed his phone and went into the bedroom. He didn't come back out for the rest of the night. The truth is, I wasn't trying to be mysterious or difficult. I'm just not the kind of person who spills everything about myself. Never have been. Some people wear their life story on their sleeve. I keep mine in a drawer. It's not malicious. It's just how I'm wired. But he was right about one thing. There was a part of my life he didn't know about. Not because I was hiding it exactly, more because it never came up, and I never felt the need to bring it up. Update 1. The next day, Wednesday, he was cold. Short answers. No eye contact. I tried to talk to him before I left for work, but he just said he was fine and went back to his coffee. Classic, "I'm fine," which means he definitely wasn't. I let it go. Figured he needed space to process whatever was bothering him. I went to work, had my meetings, came home around 6. He was already there, sitting at the kitchen table with his laptop. "Hey," I said. "Hey." That was it. No, "How was your day?" No small talk. Just, "Hey." I made dinner and asked if he wanted any. He said no. I ate alone while he stayed glued to his screen. Around 8, he finally closed the laptop and looked at me. "I've been thinking about what you said last night," he started. "Okay. Are you actually hiding something from me? Or were you just being sarcastic?" "Does it matter?" "Of course it matters. We're supposed to get married. How can I marry someone who won't even be honest with me?" I leaned back in my chair. "I've never lied to you. Not telling me things is the same as lying." "No, it's not. You're not entitled to every single detail of my life just because we're engaged." His face went red. "Entitled? You think I'm being entitled for wanting to know who I'm marrying? I think you're making this into something it's not." He stood up, grabbed his laptop, went back into the bedroom, and slammed the door this time. I sat there for a while, staring at my plate. Part of me felt bad. Part of me was annoyed. I'm not some mysterious enigma. I'm just a woman who doesn't overshare. Why was that suddenly a problem? Update 2. Thursday morning, he was still barely speaking to me. I was getting ready for work when my phone rang. It was my sister. I don't talk about my sister much because our relationship is complicated. She's younger, got into some trouble in her 20s, spent time in rehab. Now she's clean, working, doing well. But my fiancé didn't know any of this. Not because I deliberately hid it, but because family drama isn't something I like to broadcast. I answered the call in the living room. I didn't realize he was in the hallway, getting ready to leave for work himself. "Hey," I said into the phone. "What's up?" "Just checking in," she said. "Wanted to let you know I hit 2 years clean yesterday." I smiled. "That's great. I'm really proud of you." "Thanks. Couldn't have done it without you, Liz. Seriously, you bailing me out, letting me crash at your place that year, helping me get into rehab. I don't think I ever really thanked you properly." "You don't need to thank me. You're my sister." "I know, but still, not everyone would have done what you did. Most people would have written me off." We talked for a few more minutes. She told me about her job, about the guy she was seeing, about how things were finally looking up. I told her I was happy for her and that she should keep it up. We agreed to meet for lunch next week. When I hung up and turned around, he was standing in the hallway, just standing there, frozen. His bag was on his shoulder, keys in his hand, but he wasn't moving. He was staring at me with a look I couldn't quite read. Shock, maybe, or confusion. How long have you been standing there? I asked. He didn't answer right away, just kept staring. Finally, he said, You have a sister? Yeah. You never mentioned a sister. It never came up. It never... He stopped himself and shook his head. She said you let her live with you, that you helped her get into rehab. When was this? About 4 years ago, before we met. 4 years ago, he repeated slowly, like he was doing math in his head. So you had this whole situation with your sister, helped her through addiction, let her live here, and you just never thought to mention it. It's her story, not mine. I didn't think it was my place to share. I'm your fiancé. I live here. How did I not know someone else used to live in this apartment? Because it was before you moved in. It's in the past. He just stood there for another minute, still frozen. Then he walked out the door without saying another word. Update 3. He didn't come home that night. He sent me a text around 9, saying he was staying at a friend's place and that he needed space to think. I didn't argue. I told him to take all the time he needed. The next day, Friday, he showed up around noon. I was working from home, a rare day off from the office. He walked in, dropped his bag, and sat across from me at the kitchen table. We need to talk, he said. Okay. I've been thinking about this whole thing, about you, about us, about how you keep parts of yourself locked away, and I realized something. I waited. I don't actually know you, not really. I know the version of you that you let me see, the polite, supportive, easygoing woman. But there's this whole other side, the side that helped your sister. That dealt with something hard and heavy and never once mentioned it. That's not a small thing. That's a huge part of who you are, and I had no idea. Like I said, it wasn't my story to tell. But it is your story, he said. You lived it, you were affected by it, and you chose not to share it with me. Why? I thought about it for a second. Because I didn't want you to see me differently. What does that mean? People hear that my sister's a recovering addict, and they make assumptions. About her, about me, about my family. I didn't want that hanging over us. I wanted you to judge me based on who I am now, not based on something that happened years ago. That's not fair to me, though, he said. You don't get to decide what I can and can't handle. You don't get to curate this perfect version of yourself and hide all the messy stuff. I wasn't trying to be perfect, I said quietly. I was trying to be normal. But you're not normal, he said loudly, then caught himself and lowered his voice. You're not some blank slate. You're a person with history, with complications, with family drama. And I deserve to know that. I deserve to know who I'm marrying. I didn't say anything. He was right, and I knew it. But admitting that felt like opening a door I'd kept shut for a long time. What else haven't you told me? He asked quietly. What do you mean? I mean, if you hid your sister for 3 years, what else is there? What else am I going to find out about when I accidentally overhear a phone call or run into someone from your past? There's nothing else, I said. I don't have some secret family or hidden past. I'm just a private person. Private is one thing, he said. Secretive is another. We sat in silence for a while. He looked exhausted. I probably did too. I don't know if I can do this, he said finally. Do what? Marry someone who won't let me in. I've been trying for 3 years to get closer to you, to understand you, and you just keep putting up walls. I'm tired. So what are you saying? I'm saying I need to know if you're capable of being open with me. Really open. Not just surface level stuff, because if you're not, I don't think this is going to work. Update 4. That conversation was a turning point. Over the next few weeks, I made an effort to be more open. I told him about my childhood, about my parents' divorce, about why I have such a hard time trusting people with personal information. I introduced him to my sister properly and explained the whole situation in detail. He listened, asked questions, tried to understand. But something had shifted. The trust we'd built over 3 years had a crack in it now. He'd look at me sometimes like he was waiting for the next secret to come out, like he was bracing himself for another revelation. About a month after everything happened, we had another fight. Different topic, same underlying issue. He accused me of shutting down during an argument. I accused him of overanalyzing everything I said. It escalated quickly, and by the end of it, we were both yelling. This is exactly what I'm talking about, he shouted. You won't communicate. You won't fight fair. You just retreat into yourself and leave me out here alone. Maybe because every time I do open up, you use it against me later. I've never done that. You're doing it right now. You're mad because I'm not sharing enough. But when I do share, it's never the right way or the right time or the right amount. I can't win with you. He went quiet. Then he said very calmly, I think we should postpone the wedding. My stomach dropped. What? I think we need more time to figure out if this is actually going to work. You're calling off the wedding because I'm private? I'm postponing it because I don't know if we're ready. If you're ready. I didn't argue. What was the point? He'd already made up his mind. Update 5. 2 months after we postponed the wedding, something else came to light that I hadn't anticipated. My mother reached out. I hadn't spoken to her in almost 5 years. Another detail my fiancé didn't know about. My parents' divorce was messy, and my mother had said some things that made it impossible for me to maintain a relationship with her. My sister had eventually reconciled with her. I hadn't. She sent me an email saying she was sick. Nothing terminal, but serious enough that she wanted to make amends before it got worse. I read the email 3 times. Then I deleted it. Didn't respond. Didn't plan to. But my sister called me that evening. Did you get the email from her? Yeah. Are you going to respond? No. She's really sick, Lisa. I think she means it this time about making things right. She said that before. I know, but... I'm not doing this again, I said. I can't. There was a pause. Does she know about the wedding being postponed? How would she know that? I might have mentioned it when we talked last week. My blood went cold. You talked to her about my relationship? She asked how you were. I didn't think it was a big deal. It is a big deal, I said. I don't want her anywhere near my life. We argued for a few more minutes before I hung up. I was furious, not just at my sister, but at the situation, at how my past kept bleeding into my present no matter how hard I tried to keep them separate. My fiancé came home an hour later, took one look at my face and asked what was wrong. For once, I didn't deflect. I told him everything, about my mother, about the email, about the fight with my sister. He sat there listening, didn't interrupt, just let me talk. When I finished, he said, "Why didn't you tell me about your mother before?" Same reason I didn't tell you about my sister? I didn't want it to define me. But it does define you, he said, whether you want it to or not. The fact that you cut your mother out of your life, that's a huge thing. It affects how you relate to people, how you handle conflict, how you view family. And I had no idea. I know. This is what I've been trying to tell you. You can't just pick and choose what parts of yourself you share. It doesn't work that way. If I'm going to be your wife, he stopped and corrected himself. If we're going to be married someday, I need to know all of it, even the ugly parts, especially the ugly parts. I looked at him. I don't know how to do that. What do you mean? I've spent so long keeping people at a distance that I don't know how to let them in. Then you need to learn, he said, because I can't be in a relationship where I'm constantly discovering new things about you by accident. It's exhausting. Update 6. After that conversation, I started seeing a therapist. It was his idea, but I agreed to it. Figured if I was going to learn how to be more open, I needed professional help. The first few sessions were rough. My therapist asked me about my childhood, my relationship with my parents, my patterns in relationships. I gave short answers at first. The same surface-level stuff I'd been giving everyone my whole life. But she kept pushing, kept asking deeper questions, and eventually something broke open. I talked about how my parents' divorce made me believe that sharing yourself with someone just gives them ammunition to hurt you later. How watching my sister struggle with addiction made me feel like I had to be the stable one, the reliable one, the one who had it all together. How I'd built this wall around myself, not out of malice, but out of self-preservation. My therapist asked me, "What are you afraid will happen if you let people see the real you?" I thought about it for a long time. That they'll leave. And hasn't keeping them at a distance led to the same result? She had a point. I started being more honest with my fiancé. Not all at once. That would have been overwhelming for both of us. But gradually. I told him about the fights I'd had with my mother, about the guilt I felt over my sister's addiction, about the loneliness I'd felt most of my life despite being surrounded by people. He didn't judge me, didn't tell me I was broken or damaged. He just listened, held my hand, and said, "Thank you for trusting me with this." It wasn't a magic fix. We still had arguments. He still got frustrated when I'd retreat into myself during conflict. But slowly, things started to improve. The crack in our trust began to heal. Final update. It's been 6 months since we postponed the wedding. Last week, we set a new date, a year from now. Small ceremony, just close friends and family, including my sister, who's now 2.5 years clean and doing better than ever. We're also going to couples therapy together now. On top of my individual sessions, we talk about communication, about boundaries, about how to build a relationship where both people feel seen and understood. It's hard work. Some days, I still want to shut down, to retreat into the safety of silence. It's familiar there, comfortable. But I'm learning that real intimacy requires vulnerability, and vulnerability requires risk. My mother sent another email last month. This time I responded, not with forgiveness. I'm not there yet, and I might never be, but with honesty. I told her that her actions had hurt me deeply, that I needed space, that I appreciated her reaching out, but that I wasn't ready to rebuild a relationship. She wrote back saying she understood. We'll see where it goes from there. My fiancé asked me the other day if I regretted how everything unfolded, if I wished I'd been more open from the start. Honestly, I said, yeah, it would have saved us a lot of pain. But would you have actually done it? He asked. Been open from the start? I thought about it. Probably not, I said. I wasn't ready then. And now? Now I'm trying. He smiled. That's enough. Looking back, I realized that the version of myself I was trying to protect by keeping secrets wasn't even real. It was a carefully constructed facade, one designed to keep people close enough so I wouldn't be lonely, but far enough away so they couldn't hurt me. But that's not a life. That's just existence. Real connection requires showing up as your whole self. Messy history, complicated family, unresolved issues, and all. It's terrifying. But it's also the only way to build something real with another person. I don't have all the answers. I'm still figuring this out. But at least now I'm figuring it out with someone who actually knows who I am. And that makes all the difference.